Imagine escaping to a sun-drenched paradise in Cancun to save your broken marriage. Now imagine that dream vacation ending with your body being found, strangled, in a sewer. The prime suspect? The very man who promised to love you forever. Your husband. This is the story of how a trip meant to heal a relationship spiraled into a horrifying crime, exposing the darkness lurking behind a picture-perfect life. For most of us, a luxury resort is a place to get away from it all, to reconnect and relax. But sometimes, the beautiful facade of paradise can't hide the demons that guests bring with them. Today, we're looking into a case that completely shattered that illusion. A case where the stunning Mexican Riviera became the final, tragic scene in a story of love, betrayal, and murder. This is the story of Monica and Bruce Beresford-Redman. From the outside looking in, Bruce Beresford-Redman and his wife Monica were living a life anyone would envy. Bruce was a successful, 3-time Emmy-nominated reality TV producer, famous for his work on huge hits like Survivor and for co-creating MTV's Pimp My Ride. Monica was a powerhouse herself, a vibrant businesswoman who owned Zabumba, a popular Brazilian restaurant and nightclub in Los Angeles. They were a power couple with 2 young kids, living what looked like the ultimate California dream. But behind the doors of their upscale home, their marriage was secretly falling apart. Bruce was having an affair, and when that secret came out, Monica was devastated. Her sisters said the discovery completely shattered her trust in him. Desperate to salvage what was left of their relationship, the couple planned a special trip. They called it a reconciliation vacation, a chance to reconnect and celebrate Monica's upcoming 42nd birthday. They chose the sprawling, luxurious Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico, hoping the tropical paradise could help them heal. With their kids in tow, they set off on a trip that was supposed to be a new beginning. Instead, it would be a violent, tragic end. The Beresford-Redman family arrived in Cancun in early April 2010, but any hope for a peaceful getaway was immediately swallowed by the turmoil they brought with them. The tension that had been simmering for months finally boiled over. On the morning of April 5th, hotel guests staying below the couple were jolted awake by disturbing noises. They later told investigators they heard screams, a woman crying for help, and loud, violent banging coming from the Beresford-Redman's room. Another guest reported seeing the couple in the middle of a violent dispute. Later that day, Bruce Beresford-Redman went to hotel staff with a story. He claimed he and Monica had argued, and that she'd stormed off on a solo shopping trip and just never returned. The next day, April 6th, he officially reported her missing. In a local news interview just before her body was found, he tried to appear hopeful, saying, "I'm very hopeful someone will find my wife very soon. She still hasn't been located and we're looking." But that story didn't hold up for long. 3 days after she disappeared, the search for Monica came to a horrifying end. On April 8, 2010, what would have been her 42nd birthday, her body was found. It wasn't in some remote area. It was stuffed inside a sewer cistern on the grounds of the Moon Palace Resort, barely 75 yards from the room she shared with her husband and children. The dream vacation had officially become a crime scene. The discovery of Monica's body turned the resort into a media circus and ignited an international firestorm. The state of her body told a story of a brutal, desperate fight. An autopsy revealed she had been strangled to death, with a nasty blow to her temple and scratches on her neck. The official cause of death was asphyxia by suffocation. Mexican authorities were convinced she had been killed right there in the hotel room before her body was dumped in the sewer. Suspicion immediately fell on Bruce. He was the last person known to have seen Monica alive. Witnesses heard them fighting violently. And then there was the physical evidence. When police questioned Bruce, he had visible scratches on his face, neck, and arms. Injuries that looked like they came from a struggle. Mexican authorities acted fast. They detained Bruce as a person of interest and took his passport, forbidding him from leaving the country. After questioning, he was released but ordered to stay in Mexico. His family has always insisted he was innocent, claiming the evidence was flimsy and that the noises from the room were just the family playing loud games. But Bruce's next move only made him look guiltier. In late May 2010, he defied the Mexican government's orders and secretly crossed the border back into the United States. The man who claimed he was a worried husband was now a fugitive from the law. This case is a tangled web of secrets, lies, and betrayal. If you find this kind of deep dive into true crime compelling, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support is what allows us to keep exploring these complex stories. Now let's get back to the international manhunt and the long, winding road to justice. Back in Southern California, Bruce Beresford-Redman tried to slip back into his old life, but his time on the run was short. In November 2010, U.S. Marshals tracked him down and arrested him in Los Angeles on the Mexican warrant. U.S. prosecutors reviewed the evidence from Mexico and agreed there was more than enough to move forward. The motives they laid out were chilling. Bruce may have wanted to collect insurance money, get sole custody of their children, and be free to continue his affair. A long legal battle began as Bruce fought his extradition. For over a year, his lawyers argued against sending him to Mexico, but his appeals were ultimately shot down. In February 2012, Bruce Beresford-Redman was sent back to Cancún, where he was put in prison to await his trial. The trial itself dragged on for more than 3 years. The prosecution built its case on a mountain of circumstantial evidence. They brought in the hotel guests who heard the screaming and fighting. They pointed to the scratches on Bruce's body as proof of a violent struggle. And they highlighted his affair as a powerful motive, arguing the so-called reconciliation trip was just a cover. The defense fought back, claiming the evidence was contaminated and that there was no real forensic proof tying Bruce to the murder. Bruce himself has never stopped claiming he's innocent, even filming a video diary from prison to say so. His family stood by him, calling the whole thing a gross miscarriage of justice. But on March 12, 2015, the judge delivered the verdict. Bruce Beresford-Redman was found guilty of murdering his wife. After the guilty verdict, the judge sentenced Bruce Beresford-Redman to 12 years in prison, a sentence that sparked immediate controversy. Prosecutors, who had been pushing for 50 years, thought it was outrageously lenient and even considered an appeal to get it increased. Monica's family expressed relief that justice was served, but they were still left to mourn their devastating loss. Her sisters had been saying all along that they knew Bruce was the one responsible. Bruce served his time in a Cancun prison. His children were put in the care of his parents, and he didn't see them for years. But the story didn't end there. In a twist that shocked everyone, Bruce Beresford-Redman was released from prison in 2019. He had served only 7.5 years of his 12-year sentence. His early release was granted based on a combination of good behavior and credit for time served. After paying a small restitution fee of about $2,000, he was a free man. He quietly returned to Southern California to live with his mother and, to this day, maintains his innocence. His family believes the Mexican justice system railroaded him. Meanwhile, Monica's family is left with the fact that the man convicted of killing her served less than a decade behind bars. The case of Monica Beresford-Redman is a haunting story of how a vacation intended to heal a marriage became the setting for a brutal murder. It's a chilling look at how the most beautiful places can hide the ugliest truths. A successful TV producer, a beautiful entrepreneur, a picture-perfect family. All of it was a mask for a story of betrayal and rage that finally exploded in a luxury hotel room. And even though a court delivered a verdict, the questions and the pain linger. For Monica's family and friends, the image of a sun-drenched paradise will always be spoiled by the memory of what they lost there. It's a dark and somber warning that sometimes, the real danger isn't a stranger you meet on vacation, but the secrets you bring with you.